This weekend, the OWCS World Finals will begin at DreamHack Stockholm. Over 5 long days, the 12 teams from our 6 different regions will compete to see who's going to be crowned the 2025 Overwatch World Champion. Today, I'm going to go over all 12 teams, telling you who's on each squad and giving my general predictions as to who I think will win. Real quick, before we get started, we recently hit 3,800 subscribers, and I'm hoping to hit 4K before the end of 2025. I think it's super doable, so if you like this video and you want to see more Overwatch esports content, subscribe to the channel for more. I'll be making a recap video once this tournament ends, so keep an eye out for that. With all that said, let's begin, starting off with North America. North America has 3 teams representing them this year: Team Liquid, Space Station Gaming, and Geek Esports. Let's start out with the number 3 seed, Geek. This team is made up of what used to be Nightmare, that team that won Stage 1 of North America. On top of that, they actually won NA Stage 2 after they got signed by Geek. This team has been dominant all season, and the only reason they're the 3rd seed is because they lost a really close 2-3 game to Space Station Gaming. This team features Cuff on tank, Lethal and Maimon on DPS, and a superstar support duo of Ultraviolet and Admiral. Geek are a very scary underdog team, who have shown that they have what it takes to win North America, but their low seeding is going to make it tough to go on a run. They have to face off against OWCS in round 1, and then Weibo if they win that. However, if this team goes off in the lower bracket, I wouldn't be shocked. I expect this team to finish around top 6, and I'll be rooting for that backline. Hopefully they show out. Space Station Gaming are up next as the NA number 2 seed, and they've had an up and down year. They started out hot in Stage 1, placing 2nd to Geek Esports, who at the time were known as Nightmare. However, they would struggle in Stage 2, placing 4th, and people were kind of worried they might miss the finals. However, a resurgent 6-1 run in Stage 3 and a really close Map 7 loss to Team Liquid had this team really making me excited to see what they can do this weekend. The biggest addition they made was getting my boy Hawk on tank, who's been seriously good and a massive contributor for this team. On DPS, Sugarbrawn and Chronic have been a great duo, with Sugarfree showing that he's potentially the best player in North America. On support, CJ and Lep have been making a name for themselves, playing at a pretty solid level and helping to keep this team afloat. Space Station gets a very winnable game in round 1 against Team Peps, but an upcoming match against Crazy Raccoon threatens to send them to the lower bracket. My prediction for Space Station kinda depends on their matchups and how well they perform on every given day, but I have them around the top 8. I'll be rooting for them as Hawk is one of my favorite players all time, Atlanta Reign fan and all, so I'm excited to see what they can do. Our 3rd and final team from North America is Team Liquid. Liquid have been a consistent top 3 team in North America, finishing 3rd in Stage 1, 2nd in Stage 2, and they finally got that win in NA Stage 3, giving them the number 1 seed heading into the finals from North America. This seed is very valuable, since they get a first round bye. However, the problem with this first round bye is that they have to face the winner of Veril versus Team Falcons, so they have to face Team Falcons in round 2. It's going to be a tough road for them. Infected is their solo tank on this team, and he's proven to be one of the top Western tank players in North America, potentially the best Western tank. Tree and Zira might be one of the best DPS lines in the entire tournament, and I expect big plays from both of them. This duo of RuPaul and Vega have been pretty good, and they round out this team. On paper, this is one of the favorites among the Western teams. My prediction for Team Liquid is about top 6 or higher. I think that if everything goes well, this squad should be competing with the top players from EMEA and Korea, but we'll have to see. North America is a bit of a crapshoot, they're pretty hard to predict. They could place top 3, they could place top 8. I have no idea. Personally, I do think Team Liquid will do the best from the North America teams, but we'll just have to wait and see. All 3 of these North American teams could compete, and I'm really excited to see what kind of games we get. Next up, it's time to talk about the region that everyone's really keeping an eye on. It's Korea. Now, it wouldn't shock me if any of the Korea teams who qualified won. If you told me that T1 won, wouldn't bat an eye. Team Falcons, Crazy Raccoon, literally wouldn't bat an eye. But we'll start things off with the number 3 seed from Korea, T1. Since forming in Korea Stage 2, this squad has always been able to keep up with the big dogs in Korea. They placed 2nd in both Korea Stage 2 and 3, coming up just short to Crazy Raccoon. This team has a lot of quality wins under their belt. They're competing in a really stacked region, but for some reason, they cannot beat Team Falcons, and they cannot beat Crazy Raccoon when it matters. This team is stacked with talent. with Donghak and Jasmine on tank, a nasty backline of Skewed and Vigilante, and a DPS trio of Proud, Viper, and Zest. T1 has a solid path to the top of the bracket, face off against Team CC and Twisted Minds, so it should be a pretty solid, nice run from them. I have no doubts that this team will do well, and I have this team finishing top 4 or better, and they have a potential to get all the way there and win this whole thing. But they're going to have to be able to finally get over the hump and beat Team Falcons and Crazy Raccoons if they want that to happen. Hopefully they do. I think T1 is a nasty underdog team. They're definitely an up-and-comer that I feel like are going to dominate even into next year if they can keep that team together. It'll be really fun to see how they do. But the number 2 seed from Korea, Team Falcons, will stand in their way. Man, Team Falcons really are inevitable, huh? Despite the really up-and-down year this year, despite placing 5th, 6th in both Korea Stage 2 and 3, they managed to scratch and claw their way to the finals. And honestly, thank God. They were way too talented of a team not to make it. I personally don't love Team Falcons, but I do love a lot of their players. A lot of the players on Team Falcons deserve to be here. This roster is loaded, so I'm happy to see them. Hanbin and Someone make up one of the best tank duos ever created. Proper wants to continue his dominance, with Merit filling in for Stalker. Chu and Fielder look to win their 3rd title as a duo, and if they do, they will become the best backline in OWL history, if they weren't already. Team Falcons will face Varel and then Team Liquid, so it's going to be a tough run, but a finals run should be very possible for Team Falcons. I have this team finishing top 2 or better, and it's championship or bust for Team Falcons. Speaking of championship or bust though, let's talk about Crazy Raccoon. I feel like I say this every time, but can Crazy Raccoon just do it? Really, just do it. Just win the damn tournament when it matters. Crazy Raccoon won the Champions Clash and all 3 Korea stages, which is a crazy feat if you consider how stacked Korea is. But in the last LAN, they shit their pants. And I'm worried they're going to do it again. Spoiler alert, this team is my favorite to win the finals, and my prediction for this team is top 2 or bust. As for the actual roster, Junbin and Max have been an incredible tank line, with Junbin especially emerging as the best tank player of the season. In my tank video, I didn't give Max his flowers since he doesn't get to play very much, but he is a great off-tank and a great duo whenever he needs to fill in for Junbin. Shu and Chorong are still one of the best support duos out there, and now the DPS lineup for this team has gotten even more nasty, with the addition of Spite alongside Lip and Heesang. Spite, it doesn't matter. Crazy Raccoon has a really solid path to the finals, and I hope they're able to win and get Lip that another chip before he retires, because rumor has it, this might be his last season. I think he definitely deserves a chip, especially in OWCS. Crazy Raccoon have been so good, and seeing him go out into the sunset like that would make me pretty happy. Before we get to EMEA, let's go over the Japan and China regions in a rapid-fire segment. The lone team representing Japan and the Pacific region is Varel, a Japanese team with some solid talent. On tank is KSG. Support, we got Cloud, Mimosa, and Slay, and on the DPS line, we have Top Dragon, Quickie, and Nico. This team is definitely an underdog, so expectations are pretty low. I have them finishing in the top 8 or lower, but I hope they surprise me. It's really nice to see a team from this region, get to be here, and I hope they do better than everyone else does, but realistically, I don't think they have much of a shot. As for the Chinese teams, we have Team CC and Weibo. Also, editor's note, all the China footage is really low quality, so here's some extra Japan gameplay. Weibo is definitely the juggernaut from this region. This team is basically the Hangzhou Spark, with Shai, Leave, Prita, Gushui, Monk, and Mew, aka Yveltal, aka Xerneas. This squad gets a bye in round 1, and will face the winner of OWCS and Geek Esports, so that's going to be pretty tough. But this team has some high expectations. I have them placing in the top 6, with the potential to go much higher if they can stay consistent. As for Team CC, they also have some other fun Chinese players like Kaneki, Pineapple, Faraway, Gaga, and more. This team is not expected to go very far, especially with a round 1 matchup against T1, so it's going to be tough. But keep an eye on this team, you never know. I predict that they're going to place top 8 or lower, but yeah, keep an eye on them. Finally, we have the EMEA region. Coming in first, we have the number 3 seed, Team Peps. I don't think many people had Team Peps being here. To be honest, I thought it was going to be Virtus.pro, and I think a lot of people thought the same. But Team Peps were able to shock everyone and make it to the finals. Now we gotta see what all they can do. For actual placements, they got a first round matchup against Space Station Gaming, and if they manage to win that, it's Crazy Raccoon next, so it's gonna be tough no matter what happens. This is a team that's definitely going to have to fight up, but I think they can do it. They're a pretty resilient roster. They've got a really strong, dedicated group of fans, and despite all their placements, they've been pretty good, pretty loyal. They placed 5th and 6th in both EMEA Stage 1 and 2, and a 3rd place finish in Stage 3 managed to get them into this tournament. For the actual roster, we have some really fun French and Swedish talent. On DPS, we have my legend, Soon, as well as Dip and Zoro. For tank, Willies will be holding it down, and on support, Zerion and FD God will be rounding out this roster. I don't really have a ton of thoughts on this team. I don't think they're going to go very far. I have them placing top 8 or lower, but I kind of hope they go farther. This is a really fun team. Seeing Soon and FD God continuing it out is really enjoyable. So, shoutouts to Team Peps. Honestly happy to see them here. Hope they can go far. Coming in at the number 2 seed, we have OWCS. This team was dominant throughout most of this year. Honestly, them placing 2nd is kind of shocking. I think they, throughout most of this season, they've been the number 1 seed, but they choked when it mattered. Big time. And unfortunately for them, they're going to have to go through GK Esports in the first round, followed up by Weibo Gaming if they can win that. It's going to be tough. They kind of screwed themselves over with, their positioning, but it's how it goes, right? On paper, OWCS are one of my favorite personally from EMEA to make it all the way. This is a team that won in EMEA Stage 2. They placed 2nd in the midseason championship, only losing to Team Falcons, and I think they really have what it takes to go the whole distance. If any team from EMEA were to push, I think it would probably be them. They've got a really fun roster. On tank, you have the up-and-coming young talent in Zyad, as well as Chase to round up the tank line. On support, you have Landon and Kellex. Haku's also there, but it's mostly just those 2 guys. And on DPS, you have the crazy DPS duo of Labda and Checkmate. It's not really a duo I think anyone saw coming. Obviously, Checkmate, he's an Overwatch champion. He's an absolute legend. I saw him playing well. But the emergence of Labda is not something that I think a lot of people saw this year. He was a Pharaoh one-trick last season. But now he's one of the best hit scans in EMEA, and you've got to keep an eye on this guy whenever you play. In terms of my prediction for this placement, despite them being the number 2 seed, I have them placing top 4. I'm a little higher on this team than I think a lot of people. Checkmate is one of my personal favorite players. I love him a lot, so got a lot of bias for this team. But either way, I expect to see good things from OWCS, and I kind of hope that they're the favorite coming out of EMEA. However, they are not the number 1 seed, because the number 1 seed from EMEA is Twisted Minds. Yeah, talk about an up and down year. Just like Team Falcons, they've been a little all over the place with their placements. They did pretty good in this stage, but in their previous stages, they were bad. Stage 1 and 2, they had a lot of roster turnover, they had a lot of inconsistent play, people coming in, people coming out, and I think they finally kind of stabilized around Stage 3, and they've looked a lot better since then. The DPS lineup of Psycho and Quartz is really good, and you be able to sub in. Much as I don't really like the guy, he does have a really good Symmetra. I think it really does benefit this team a lot. TVNT and KSA, pretty good tank line, honestly. They've got a lot of the tanks who can cover. KSA, I personally think, is a really good player, and TVNT, despite having no hands, can cover what he can't. Support lineup, though, is where I think they really benefit. Simple, straight up, he's a demon. Him and Funny Astro combined makes a really good support lineup, and I think they're going to be a lot scarier than some of these other teams think. One of the perks of them getting the number 1 seed from their region is they get a first round bye. They're going to face the winner of Team CC and T1, so realistically, they'll be facing T1. That's going to be a tough game, and if they manage to do that, they'll be facing off against either Team Liquid or Team Falcon, so it's not going to get any easier from here. This is a team that I definitely can see as going pretty far, but I'm not sure how far they're going to go. I think they definitely have some flexibility issues, and I think there's a lot of stronger teams on paper, but you never know. Twisted Minds always seems to perform even better at international lands. I guess they just get like some sort of spirit boost from their fans. I don't know what's up with that. So who knows, they might make it all the way, but I doubt it. Personally, I have them placing, top 6 or maybe a little lower. It's about the vibe that I've got for them, but I think they should perform really well, and they're going to be really enjoyable to watch in this tournament. With all that said, though, here is my final prediction bracket for the OWCS World Finals. I'm fully prepared to be dead wrong, and I really can't wait for this tournament. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you aren't aware, I'm a full-time college student, and I've been super busy with exams before Thanksgiving break, so apologies about the delay on this video. I've got a really good video planned for when I get home after break, so be ready for that. Also, if you've watched this far, you probably like my content, so leaving a like and subscribing really helps me out with the almighty YouTube algorithm. Really close to 4K, love to hit that by the end of the year, so subscribe if you like the stuff. Also, if you want more from me, I got a link to my Twitter, it's in the description. I usually talk about the games as they happen, talk about anything about Overwatch, NFL stuff if you care about that, so go follow me down below. That's all for me today, though. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, love you guys.